I'd like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me. And when I received this invitation, I wondered if I fit in this grand scheme of experts that give us the best tea, which all of us drink every morning, and I'm a big connoisseur of tea. Then I thought for a moment that I would like to share with you some of the science that could be used to benefit and develop tea. So what I'm going to do is, before I present to you some of our work that will help, hopefully, the tea industry and the tea growers and bring us diversification of products from tea, I'd like to tell you two stories. One of them is, as I go through these couple of days, I see people interacting with each other, learning from each other, and I have learned myself quite a lot about tea. It reminds me of the Greek mythology Narcissus, who actually used to, this handsome young person would go every evening or early morning and look at his reflection on this beautiful lake in the forest and admire how beautiful he was. And one day he fell into the lake and drowned. And the lake started weeping. And the lake started weeping. And when the god of the forest said to the lake, "Why are you weeping?" The lake said, "Well, I could see my reflection in his eyes, and now I can't see that anymore." So what I mean to say is, we all look at each other's contribution to society through the eyes of our colleagues. What you do today, and therefore a collaboration and interaction between us, will result in new ideas, technologies that could be used. So, a plant cell and an animal cell there's very little difference. You have a cell wall, but the cell is the unit of life, yeah? And as we all know, we all have about 38 trillion cells in us, and they communicate with each other. Within the 2 pounds of brain tissue, there's 1 million miles of neurons that interact with each other, and we're able to understand and memorize and think and so on and so forth. And if you combine these cells, the 38 trillion cells, lengthwise, they'll go halfway through the globe. And each cell has about 6 feet of DNA. Huge amount of information. If you line them up linearly, they will span between the sun and the earth, which is 93 million miles, 61 times. Just imagine the amount of information there is in each of us. The capabilities that we have, limitless. And therefore, that's how you perceive your life and how you can make a difference. And so all of you are excited to participate and interact with each other to make a difference in the field that you're working in. And I was drawn to this audience when people said, "Well, you speak about how you can have impact of new technologies in the tea industry." I was drawn more by the program that was listed, and also by this. KDHP has had a negative or zero carbon footprint, which is very, very important, I think, as we go progress in our way of dealing with agricultural products and innovations, at the same time looking at. I'm so very heartened that all of you think in those terms and deal. So I will do couple of things now, present to you an institute that we have put together. In fact, it is being supported by 180 Nobel laureates into this program, where what we have done at the MMI, the Molecular Medicine Institute, which is very close near Boston in Beverly, is to have a tripod. The main program actually designs and develops drugs. So that is the main arm, which is the commercial arm of the program. But we also have two other arms, which at this point is completely philanthropic, and MMI on its own is actually a nonprofit organization. And the arm that I will show you in a moment that designs and develops drugs, the Proposome Therapeutics, which has many spin-off companies that have been formed with the help of many people, many bankers, and so on and so forth. But the two most important aspects that I would like to share with you is that we want, and this is globally, we want three aspects to serve society. One is security for medicine globally, that will be available to all. Security in food, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that relates to the tea industry, and security for energy. And so I would like to share this with you and also tell you that everyone is welcome to participate in these programs that we have initiated. And so, as it says, our mission is to bring food, medicine, and energy security to humanity. And how do we do this? We need financial support, and we generate the financial support ourselves. We don't ask for financial support. And that is the new medicines and from innovative ideas and thoughts in this program, these medicines that are designed and developed, much of that come back to serve other aspects for societal good. And we do that by establishing a foundation for the promotion and development of education and research in the arts and sciences. So both the arts and sciences will be supported by that. And then we have also established MMI Ventures, which essentially has people that are interested in participating in these programs, and of course for a return. But at the same time, the platform allows the MMI to keep part of the profits for doing these other programs. So this is what we have established. And so just to give you the three tripods, the medicine, the food, and the energy sector. And the three companies, major companies that have been established is Proposome Therapeutics, which has now several drugs for Alzheimer's, cystic fibrosis, for antiviral programs, and also nitroponics. And I'm going to focus now a few minutes on that aspect. And we have new products and new ideas, and which can be implemented if you like, into the tea industry. And the big recent approach is renewable energy, and we have focused using quantum AI computing and other aspects of doing the hydrogen project. So that will be the next energy landscape that humanity is going to have, which is using renewable energy to produce energy which has no carbon footprint. So let me now focus on nitroponics, and that's something that we have done. I'll be, in November, December, I'll be here in India through the good offices of the Prime Minister and other people to actually start a program in India where we will do three things in binitroponics. Number one is we have now genetic tools to rapidly progress all aspects of agriculture. So if you go back, you'll go to a grocery store, you see GMO, non-GMO. It's a misnomer. A lot of people are I would say, uninformed what is GMO. If you think for a moment after independence, the Norman Bullrug wheat completely changed our landscape of food availability in this continent. Yeah? And we are still using wheat, and then we had the rice revolution and new varieties of rice that helped us fill our bowl. And similarly, now we have tools that are very, very powerful that you don't have to wait for decades to have beautiful crops that can be, and I will come to that, that can be grown that do not depend on fertilizers, that will not depend on, they'll drop the carbon footprint, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment in general. But what I would like to impress on you is that when we talk about GMO, think for a moment that when you sit in the table and you order something, you make a choice of what you want to eat today. In a remote village, whether it's in India or Africa or even in the United States, where some people are so poor that they cannot afford food. So for them, food is medicine. They don't have a choice. Yeah? Number two, we have the tools to overcome that, and we do not use it because we scare the hell out of people about GMO. We ourselves are GMOs. If you think about for a moment, from grass seeds to cereals, it took 15 years of evolution. We can do that within a year now. We, in our genome, have 10% viral genome genes. And we are personally GMOs, if you think for a moment. And therefore, we have to drive this program where we can use engineered plants to solve many problems. We can engineer, and we have the tools. The MMA has the tools. We can engineer plants that will help capture nitrogen from the atmosphere. And therefore, you do not need nitrogen fertilizers. As you saw in these talks, fertilizers, when they're used, nitrogenous fertilizers acidify the soil, and you lose the soil's capability to be nutritious to the plant. Yeah? Now you don't have to face that. Now nitrogen fertilizer will use a lot of carbon, yeah? Because you're using energy, yeah? And most of it is non-renewable, your petroleum products and so on and so forth. We can use carbon trapping. Some of you may know that in 1986, Hartmut Mickel and colleagues solved the structure of the photosynthetic reaction center at Max Planck and won the Nobel Prize in chemistry. Hartmut is he has visited India several times, and in 2024 at a Nobel Prize dialogue in South Korea, he came up to me and said, well, I would like to participate. You can drop carbon because carbon, CO2 is the source of forming the sugar in plants, yeah? You can increase the carbon reaction center, photosynthetic reaction center, and trap carbon 10 times more than what an ordinary tea plant can do, and therefore drop the carbon footprint 10 times, and yet at the same time get 10 times more faster growth of your leaf. And you don't have to take lower leaf, you can take the tip, the best of the best, and very fast. Yeah? So these are approaches that can be utilized and are currently available. And so I just want this audience to know that we'll be happy to help you to do that. And we can participate together. And this is not just for tea, it can be used for all types of crops. So those are some of the things that we are excited to bring to society because, and for example, the other thing I also wanted to share with you is the hydrogen project. Hydrogen, we were the other day talking to very brilliant scholars in Cochin University, and she has developed this program where they can use and generate hydrogen from renewable sources. For example, solar energy, in India is big. You can use solar energy to split water and make hydrogen that can be used as a fuel, okay? AI, we're living in the AI world, And so we are using not just regular computers, which cannot be utilized for doing good AI, or utilizing the maximum potential of AI. We need quantum computing. And therefore, what best? Indian scientists and physicists and scholars are very good at that. So quantum computing will allow you to integrate all the different aspects of tea agriculture into a point where, starting from the source to the consumer, you can actually coordinate it very beautifully without losing a lot of, and that happens with all type of business ecosystems, using quantum computing. You can use hydrogen energy to actually power your plants that help produce tea and other things. So there's a lot of technological things that are available. The question is, you have to put a lot of work in R&D, try to get it done, and the return will be much, much higher. And that's what I want to share with you, because that is exactly what you want to do. Initially, it may be a little bit of cost, but at the end, you will benefit many, many fold. And we're there to help. I'll be happy to talk with anyone who is interested, any company or any programs. We recently developed, for example, that you can take from tea for its diversification. Now, if you think for a moment, most of the drugs have been developed from plants. Aspirin is a good example. So tea has many, many valuable ingredients in it, which you are unable to tap because the way the consumer is taking tea. Now you can actually prepare and extract the best ingredients from tea, and then utilize that not only as a nutraceutical or as a drink, but also utilize it and enrich tea. You can genetically have tea plants produce these ingredients that are in there. The genes are still there, but you multiply it several times, therefore having these good elements in tea, starting from flavor to its nutritional contents much higher. That's not difficult at all. Now the genetics like CRISPR technology and other things will allow you to do that. And so we'll be happy to work with you to do these kind of things, and that will take you. So in my story, let me take you to the second story very quickly I want to share with you, because I'll tell you this. So after 45 years of science, we found the structure. And I'm a professor. I never knew that it'll be translated in my lifetime, but there were business people that came to me and said, wow, we can use this to develop new drugs and therapies. Now we're so happy that we're able to do that. One example, simple example, cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a disease, is a devastating disease, where people lose the capability of the lungs to actually clear up, and therefore people die very young. There is a drug called Trikafta that is given every day, 3 times. Each year, the patient spends $350,000. No one, all cannot afford it, okay? So the revenue for that company is almost $12 billion a year. We are twice as better, and we can treat all types of mutations of cystic fibrosis. So just to give you an example, how fundamental research, if you deep dive and understand and spend money for R&D, returns are very high. Number 2, Alzheimer's. We can now reverse Alzheimer's. We have just got a report, which I got day for yesterday, from human brain organoids, that you can reverse them, reverse Alzheimer's. And one of the, I can't name you here, one of the major banking partners of ours has said its value is $100 billion. Dollars are not important. What is important is that 55 million people around the globe can be benefited, and their spouses, their children, their families who are impacted can now get treatment. So what I'm trying to say is that we should utilize all the resources that is available to humanity and do things, as all of you are talking about environment, carbon footprint, and it immediately got to me that this crowd is very much in a social, impactful manner doing business. So this is a beautiful gathering to discuss such type of programs, and the MMI and I personally myself are invested in helping in any way we can these programs. So tea industry can essentially take off. So don't produce less tea, produce more, but diversify it so that you can utilize its benefits and you can sell it worldwide. Thank you.